Hi, my name is Drew, and if we haven't met before, welcome to ReadyBudgetGo. If it's not your first time visiting my channel, welcome back. I'm happy you're here either way. It's Friday, so it's the end of the week and time for the weekly reel. This is when I recap all of my income, bills, spending, everything for the month, my savings, everything. And this week I don't have as much to share as I have in weeks past because there wasn't all that much spending this week. But I do have a cautionary tale, and this relates to the bonanza from last month. So I guess I'm looking forward to sharing it. I don't think excited is necessarily the right word, but I think it's important for everyone to be conscious consumers. So make yourself comfortable and let's jump into it. So let's go over some of the numbers first, and I'll share my cautionary tale for the end of the video just because it doesn't really have anything to do with my budget directly. Indirectly it does, but not directly. So first, I want to talk about my goals. I look at these every week. There's a reason that I keep this in the front of my binder, and I've achieved 4 big goals this year already. I made a total of 8. In fact, I think I started the year with 5, and then I added 3 more as I was knocking things down. So the goal that I'm working on right now is contributing the full $7,500 to my Roth IRA, and if things go according to plan, I will have that done by the end of this month, by the end of July. From there, I'm going to move on to stockpiling $7,500 toward my 2027 Roth IRA. I already upped my contribution to my 401k through my work, so my paychecks will get smaller, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. I talked some about it on last week's video as well. And then all sinking funds fully funded by end of year. I don't think I'm going to get there. I went through the sinking fund binder, or stockpiles as I call them, and I added up the total of all the different goals, and it came out to about $8,600. So that is a big hill to climb with how much year we have left. If this were January, I would say absolutely doable this year. But it's July, and I've got one other goal in front of it, and my paychecks are going to shrink. So maybe I'll get there, maybe I won't. The other thing is that I'm now spending out of my stockpiles more freely than I have in the past. Not this week because I didn't spend anything, but I'm being a more conscious accumulator of funds and not trying to cash flow everything. So all that being said, let's jump into the numbers and see how I did this week. No income came in this week, and that was as expected. I am paid twice a month on the 15th and the last day of the month, so my next payday is like Wednesday of next week or something like that. And then for bills, I didn't have any bills come out. I was expecting YouTube Premium is anywhere between the 6th and the 12th, so I always put it in for the 6th, but it hasn't billed yet. And then the next one after that is not till the 22nd, and that is Spectrum for my home internet. I did just get the bill, but it will auto-draft on the 22nd. For wallet spending, $231 rather, and 45 cents. I will explain that in detail when I get to that page. This has something to do with my cautionary tale. I'll say that much. For stockpiles, I put $100 toward it for the week. I don't know to which stockpiles yet because I haven't done the randomizer yet. We'll see that at the end of the month. And then savings and extra debt. I don't have any debt, so this is all savings. $736 went to my Roth IRA, and I did make that contribution today, Thursday, as I'm filming this. So in that vein, let's flip over to that page, which is my, oops, one too many. 1 second. Which is my, goodness, did I put it in the wrong spot? No, there it is. Okay, which is my monthly cash flow tracker. So this is more or less a check register or a ledger of all the transactions that go into and out of my checking account, my main checking account. So no inflows yet this month. And then this week, the only withdrawal was the $736 that went to my brokerage firm for my Roth IRA. I will have significantly more transactions next week because the paycheck will come in, lots of credit cards to pay. So, and credit cards meaning credit cards that have a balance that I pay off every month. Okay, expenses. So not too many transactions for the week, excuse me, but some of them were humdingers, right? So $102 at Aldi, that's about what I would expect at the grocery store each week. I also had 3 DoorDashes that were pretty expensive, 2 of them in particular were, and then 1 trip to McD's. So the $64.59, that was because I didn't do the grocery shopping, excuse me, before the holiday. And I wasn't sure if Aldi was open on the 4th of July. I wasn't sure if people were going to be working on the 4th of July. I didn't know if there was a parade that was going to close streets. So I just DoorDashed and waited for Sunday. So that's when I did my grocery haul. It posted on the 6th. So $102 there. And then another DoorDash today for about $40. And the reason is because some of the food I bought I couldn't prepare. That leads into the cautionary tale, but again, I'll put that off to the end because I want to talk about savings real quick. So flipping over to savings, emergency fund is done. Flip fund is done. So now I'm working on the IRA. I need to put in that I added $736 on July 9th. So 736, bringing my total for the year to $5,736. So for this year, I can I can contribute $7,500 to my Roth IRA. Each one of these sloths in the Sloth IRA tracker, which you can get from me on my Etsy, I believe. It may also be on Ko-fi, but I know it's on Etsy. Each of these slots represents $100, so I need to mark off 7 of them because I contributed 736. So let me do that here real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So next week, I will finish this row and start on the next row. And the week after that, I'll probably finish that row. And the week after that, it'll be fully funded for the year. The initial $5,000 came from a challenge I was doing for subscribers, the first 1,000 subscribers. Finished that. That money was initially supposed to go to the big move where I relocated from the Pacific Northwest to the Midwest, but I ended up not needing that money for that, so it all went into the Roth IRA instead. Okay, so that's it for savings and the budget update for the week. Like I said, I didn't have all that much to share, but I do want to talk about my cautionary tale, and I guess I'll close the binder since I'm done with that. So, as everyone knows, or if you've been following me, you know, I spent a significant amount of money on Amazon for Prime Day. I was waiting for this. I didn't think it would come so soon. I'm used to it being in like mid to late July, and this year it was in mid to late June. So I bought a bunch of things for my new place that I needed, and a lot of the money that I spent was on just household items. A lot of laundry detergent, probably a year's supply, a 6-month supply of toilet paper, a 6-month supply of paper towels, hand soap, dishwashing detergent, washing machine cleaner, dishwasher cleaner, things like that. Garbage bags, you get the picture. So I'm getting all of this in drips and drabs. I had picked the option for, what do they call that? No rush delivery. So things were supposed to take about a week to get here, and then some things came like right away, and other things, there was some kind of delivery issue that I didn't understand. And as I'm opening these boxes, I'm realizing that not all of this merchandise is new. Some of it is very obviously used, more than the amount of wear and tear you might expect a product to encounter in the Amazon warehouse system. This isn't really something that I dealt with in the Pacific Northwest, and that isn't to say that it doesn't happen, but it just wasn't my experience. But now that I'm in a different part of the country, it's very noticeable. So I think 2 things are happening, and I want to preface this by saying that everything is just alleged. I don't have any proof of this. It would be something that would be very difficult to prove, I think. But the pieces really started to come together when I opened up my new air fryer. I bought a Cuisinart air fryer toaster oven because it was a fantastic deal on Prime Day. It was a featured deal, a lightning deal, whatever they call those. And I needed an air fryer. So I bought this one. My cousin who drove me out here has one and she gives it rave reviews. So I thought, okay. So I bought it and it took about a week. So it got here late last week. And I opened the box. So it came in just a brown cardboard box, right? I opened that box, and inside the product box, the branded, it said Cuisinart on there, was completely beat up. It had holes in it. It had been opened and retaped multiple times, multiple different ways. It had been squished. There was a section on the top where a label had been cut off. And I think what happened, and again, this is an allegation, this is a guess. But I believe what happened is that somebody ordered this from Amazon or some other retailer at some point in the past. It was shipped to them, and they opened it. Maybe they used it, maybe they didn't, I don't know. I didn't take it out of the box because the box looked so bad, I thought, no, I'm not using this. There's no way. So whether they did or not, it went back to wherever they bought it from. Maybe it was Amazon. It could have been Walmart, Target, any number of places. And someone bought it at liquidation and sent it back into Amazon. That is my guess. Now, that is perfectly fine to do if you send it in as not new. But I bought this as new. And they sent me this beat up unit. So Amazon should not have done that. They shouldn't have accepted the unit when it was received in their warehouse from whoever sent it in. And they should not have sent it to me, but they did. So I don't know if the reason that this wasn't happening to me where I came from is because at that warehouse, at that distribution center, the associates that work for Amazon are just more careful about that kind of thing, and they're not out here or at this particular distribution center. And again, I don't know that that's what happened, but that's what it looks like happened. Like, I would be surprised if there were a different explanation. So that's one issue. So that thing went back. And I had to, because it's big and I don't drive, I had to call Amazon, explain what happened over the phone to one of their customer service reps, have them issue a call tag, and have UPS come to my apartment to pick it up because I couldn't lug it to the UPS store. And I wasn't going to pay for carrier pickup. So anyway, so that's one thing. The other thing is that some of the household products that I'm receiving, and I'm specifically talking about the Tide washing machine cleaner and the Cascade dishwasher cleaner, are coming to me in very strange packaging. Like, I know how these are sold in the stores, and that's not how I'm receiving them. So instead of them coming in a box, they're coming to me in a bag. So these did not come from Procter & Gamble this way. These were sent into Amazon by somebody else, which is fine. However, I would not be surprised to learn that these were stolen. I think, they're small items, they're easy to fence, easy to steal. Somebody could have walked out of, again, Target, Walmart, a grocery store even, with them and sent them into Amazon. Amazon's none the wiser. The grocery store, or whatever, or wherever they were taken from, didn't pursue it or whatever. And again, I don't know that for a fact, but it's like, this is what's happening now that didn't happen when I lived in another area. And I think, why would they come in this packaging if they weren't stolen? Because, they're also in an odd quantity. So I don't know any of this for a fact, but there's enough things here that I don't like. So I'm probably going to have to abandon Amazon. And I don't know if I will cancel my Prime membership and my Prime credit card. but I'm going to have to do something different probably, because I can't I can't abide that if that's what's happening. And it, like I say, I can't prove it, but I also can't disprove it. And it just gives me enough of a bad feeling that I don't, if that is what is happening, I don't want to participate in that. So, I'm surprised by this, and I guess I shouldn't be. Maybe I was just lucky before, but the reason that I bring it up here is just buyer beware, right? Be on the lookout, consider those kinds of things, inspect the things that you buy from any online retailer, because this, in theory, could happen anywhere. I think Amazon is a little more vulnerable because it is a marketplace. Anybody can send anything into Amazon. There are some things that you have to get ungated for to be able to sell through Fulfillment by Amazon or FBA, but it's fairly easy to get ungated, from my understanding. And if you're running right, all this is alleged, if you're running a criminal enterprise, then you have that kind of volume, tenacity, whatever is needed to break through those security barriers. So anyway, just a word to the wise, a word of caution. I don't say this to slander anybody or discourage anyone from shopping on Amazon or anywhere, but I was really disappointed with what I was seeing. And it's not even just these items. Like, a lot of things that I got had obviously been opened before. And there's so much of it, it's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, some of it, if it's anything that I'm using to cook or whatever, I'm cleaning it or sending it back, right? I sent back the toaster oven because there was just no way, air fryer. But I'm not going to do that again. So anyway, I'm rambling now. So that is all I have to say on that topic. If you made it this far in the videos, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching, for your continued support. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below if you've had a similar experience. I mean, I'm thinking I'm not alone here. And again, I have no proof, but it's enough of a I don't like this to make me change what I'm doing. So don't know what that'll be yet, but I'll work on it as I can. So anyway, thanks again so much for watching, and until I see you in the next one, take care.